All right. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to bring you a very important update about Bitcoin. There's a lot of concern and a lot of FUD in the market right now. There's a lot of discussion of is this the top? What's going on? So, folks, in this video, we're going to break down what we think is happening with Bitcoin, the next price targets, and kind of describe whether we think this is the top of the market or not, and delve into some reasons, some charts, some on-chart metrics, some cycle indicators, that kind of thing. So we've brought on Messin. What's going on, man?
How's it going? Oh, well, this intro was pretty kind of dead, man. You're not hyping me up like you used to.
Well, it's appropriate because people are concerned, and
Right.
Rightly so. There's some concerning things going on, but we're going to delve into it and explain the nuance, because I don't think this is the top of the bull market. The fundamentals for crypto and Bitcoin have never been stronger, in my opinion, but the technicals do look concerning. So we'll start off with that. What do you think we want to start off here?
But there's a lot of things that we can start off with. There's a bunch of news that came out, obviously, with the tax plans and all that, and capital gains. A bunch of negative news, I would say, for the past 10 days for Bitcoin and the crypto market. And look, I get it. Everything is down, and a lot of people have a lot of their holdings in this market, and a lot of people actually bought at the top. A lot of people bought at the 40, 50, and the $60,000 region. And drops like this definitely cause, it's just like a dominoes effect, and everything just falls all together. So that's what we always say in those charts. Anything can happen. The only thing you can do in this market is just forecast, and that's about it. You're not really fully making your plan based on those charts or based on the news. At one point, everything will be overbought, and you will have those big drops. And that's something that you need to understand when you enter a market like this that is extremely volatile. Every single day, you see VeChain, Ethereum, all these random Dogecoin out of nowhere blowing up out of nowhere, and now it's back down to I don't even know where it is, like 20 cents from 41 cents.
Yeah, it's dropped like 50%.
So that's the thing you got to keep in mind here. And the charts are not everything. The resistance and support lines are not everything. You need to keep in mind that anything can happen in this market, and there's a lot of gains to be made, but there's also a huge risk to be while you're in it. However, still, with all that being said, I'm really, I don't want to say it, but I'm actually a bit relieved that we're having this drop right now. It was much needed.
Right. Yes. Corrections are healthy in a bull market. I do think we're still in the bull market. With that being said, I think the technicals in the chart do tell a story, though. And
Right.
Based off the story it tells, you can understand what's going on. And so there are some very concerning things. Folks, there was a major power outage in China, which caused the Bitcoin hash rate to drop. The Bitcoin hash rate has historically been very correlated with price action. There's been massive liquidations of over-leveraged longs. I believe there's like $10 billion of liquidations of money or positions was liquidated. There's been the Biden tax increases. Folks, there's always every single cycle, every single time someone's been a new, anyone's elected and proposes tax increases, there's always a correction with the market. It's very temporary, very to be expected. I don't think people are going to stop wanting to make money just because their taxes go up. It's going to suck, but people don't stop making money. So I think it's just a temporary issue. There's been a lot of FUD, and the technicals are reflecting it, folks. So we're hovering here at a weekly chart of Bitcoin. We're looking at the weekly MACD. The weekly MACD has had a bearish crossover. This is a very macro time frame. This is a big deal, in my opinion. This is a large shift in momentum. Yes, the MACD histogram is at the neutral point right now, but the momentum of the market is clearly now moving to the downside. We can see that the last times we've had MACD bearish crossovers in the overbought region, we've had significant drops. These blue lines correlate to when we had the bearish crossovers. Back in the previous cycle, back in 2017, we had a bearish crossover on the MACD. Look what led afterwards. Back in the middle here, back in 2019, we had a bearish crossover on the MACD. Look what led afterwards. So we are seeing a lot of concerning things with Bitcoin in the technicals. But in this video, we're going to try and mention some of the technicals and some of the fundamentals, because the fundamentals for Bitcoin are very strong. Again, the technicals, not so much here. So where do you think you want to begin describing what's going on next year? Oh no, we can't hear you. So Messen's on mute.
Yeah, my bad. I was actually on mute. But so that's the thing right now. I would say the biggest thing is that Bitcoin did drop off a technical spot, right? And that was actually also, we had a bunch of catalysts that led to this domino effect of a drop. Drop below the 50 simple moving average on daily, a drop below this resistance line, the support line over here. This pattern in its own is a bearish pattern overall, a rising wedge after.
Why don't we go to
Yeah.
the daily here? That way we can see things a bit better.
Oh, right. Yeah. So if we can go right here, we'll go down. Just kind of zoom out a bit. Yeah, so this is it. This is pretty much it. The drop off of this on its own is a overall, everybody looking at this chart over here, a rising wedge like this is usually a bullish pattern. It's a reversal after an uptrend, and a reversal down actually.
Bearish
Then
pattern.
a bearish pattern, and then a drop below the 50 a simple moving average on the daily as well. The hash rate drop and everything, and now the Biden's, I guess, tax plan that also caused a bit of concern right now in terms of capital gains, and that also added a bit of more fear in the market. But the only thing right now we need to understand, overall, if we're talking from a technical standpoint, the 50K is typically I would say would be a good psychological resistance. Obviously, Bitcoin might not hold here. We need to see buyers start to come in, and at least we need to start seeing this drop or the close of this daily candle actually closing above the 50K region to kind of give a bit of, I would say, the buyers a bit of interest back in either jumping in. Is this the first support we're going to reach? Is it not? Because as soon as we close below, I think the next level we'll be looking at is the 42 to 41K. So is it typical for this to happen? Yes, but obviously those drops are massive. Obviously it's affecting the whole crypto market, and we just need to keep an eye out right now. Bitcoin is driving the whole thing, so we need to see how that develops today, the next couple of days. And if you think about it, it dropped to the 44 or whatever we were talking about it from the top there when Bitcoin was all the way at the top. It dropped to the 44s right there. I can see if Bitcoin doesn't hold this 50K, I can see literally Bitcoin going there within the next couple of days easily. And now we're so oversold, back again to the oversold region. So this drop right here, all the indicators, like we were saying, the MACD is going to the negative soon, and it is already started looking. If you can just show that back over here on this side, that's the daily, right? Yeah, so MACD is already down here. We just need to see how this plays out. Is it a bear market? I wouldn't say yet. Is it a typical, drop from a macro level, and we might stay here for the next week, 2-3 weeks, a month or two? Yes, it's a huge possibility. So that's what we're trying to gauge right now. And as we drop down to those major, support levels, the 50K, this guy over here at the 40, even down here at the 31,000, I think is a very, very far away right now for us to assume that. We still have some good cushion. Let's see first the 50K if that's going to hold or no today. If not, then I think we might be heading down to the 42K, and I think that's still going to attract a lot of buyers coming in.
Yeah, and some key levels here, we have to be aware of these Fibonacci retracement levels. These are some key areas that line up pretty closely with important price action. So this Fibonacci retracement was drawn from the March lows to all-time highs. And so we have the 236, or we had the 236 before, we had just moved it here. We had the 236 right above us, acting as the 236 Fibonacci retracement acting as resistance here. So if we continue to find rejection off that, I think it makes it much more likely that we retest this 42K region, like you were just saying, and the 382. Also, we have that 100 SMA right below us. So if we drop below this 100 SMA, if we drop below this fib level, if we drop below that psychological and stay below that psychological level of 50K, I think retesting these regions at the very least makes a lot of sense. And, like we're trying to show, we had a 26% correction so far. If we drop to around, let's say 42, that next fib level, this peak in price action, that's 35, which is pretty common and to be expected in a bull cycle.
Right. And even if you're comparing that to the 2017, Bitcoin in 2017 had almost 18 pullbacks in total. 5 of those were major corrections that were somewhere between 30% and 40% retracements. And in 2021 so far, Bitcoin had 5 dips, One of them is a major correction, at 31%. And now we're currently down that, 27, 26 since these all-time highs at, 65,000. So we're still kind of like, even if we're comparing to before, the price is extremely overpriced, obviously. But in terms of the movement that Bitcoin is doing, we're still, in the seventh, eighth major pullback that we're looking at. And, I think this is, obviously there's a lot of fear right now, but I think it's still typical, this drop. This drop, everybody was forecasting this at one point. And, it's just, we need to see at each support line. My main goal right now is to see how each support line will hold and whether this will be the bounce coming soon or we're going to have another bounce to the bottom. So key levels, 50K, obviously above us. We're not even going to, I wouldn't say we're going to talk mainly about the resistance. We're overall in a, downtrend, but we just need to see when will buyers start to accumulate more or buy more into it. And yeah.
Yeah, no. And one thing as well that we could mention is typically whenever we're having corrections, whenever we're having pullbacks, we typically have a relief rally in the middle known as a dead cat bounce. And only after we have that relief rally and then the second leg down can price usually start to recover. Like if you look back historically at Bitcoin or just any chart ever, there's almost never an immediate relief rally all the way to all-time highs after a correction. There's almost always a one leg down, bit of a relief rally, dead cat bounce, and then that second leg down. And usually only after that second leg down can we recover. So the fact that we had our relief rally, our second leg down, we had our dead cat bounce, that tells me that there's a possibility that this at least can now, if it starts to make a move to the upsides, that recovery is likely to be more sustainable. Because back when we were having this recovery, it was very precarious. We had that 50 SMA acting as resistance, and that could have been a dead cat bounce, and it really was. So at this point, I think to understand what way we break out, if we see more moves to the downside, more moves to the upside, we need to see that 50K level, that fib, and that 100 SMA on the daily. Now I think it's worthwhile to do you want to start off with the Grayscale stuff, or do you want to do the cycle indicators?
We can talk about let's just start with the cycles and see what that's saying.
Yeah, because look, folks, I don't think this is the end of the bull run. We're seeing some concerning things. We don't really know what's going on, but I think there's a few charts that we can look at that have historically done a very good job of kind of breaking down the cycles and where we are within them. So one of these charts is the reserve risk chart for Bitcoin. Again, if we look at historically how these peaks correlate with the peaks in price action and see how this red zone, whenever we enter this red zone, that's pretty much historically correlated with kind of the near with the cycle top, near the cycle top. So we still have not entered this red resistance zone. We possibly still have moved to the upside. Same with the net unrealized profit and loss chart. Every time we enter this blue euphoria zone, that's typically signaled the end of the bull cycle. We still have not entered that blue euphoria zone. Same with the realized hodl ratio. This red zone here acting as a resistance, as historically called the tops. We still have not entered that zone. We also have the, and you can feel free to interrupt me at any point here, man.
Go ahead. He's just hitting you guys with a chart on top of another chart on top of another.
Because look, people are concerned, man. People are talking about selling their positions and selling their portfolios. And look, you know what's best for yourself. Take profits, do whatever you need to do. But I do think there are very good reasons to think that, yes, we may correct further in the short term. We may even consolidate for a long time. But to think that this is the top of the market, that I do not think there's enough good reason to think so. I mean, even this chart as well, the realized cap hodl waves. So what this essentially shows us is basically when people start to sell off. And we can see how historically with this kind of orange section here, this dark orange section, there's been three kind of phases of sell-off periods each bull cycle. So back in 2017, there was kind of three of these peaks. Back in 2014, three of these peaks as well. And then back in kind of 2011, three of these peaks as well. So every single bull cycle we've had kind of like these three waves, these three phases of hodling and sell-off periods. We've only had one so far. So taking a look at all the macro cycle top and bottom indicators, all of them suggest that we have plenty more room for the upside that we have not entered the top. That paired with the fundamentals that Bitcoin has never looked stronger. There's never been lower supply, greater use case, greater demand, and greater adoption than Bitcoin today. The fundamentals look amazing. The global reserve currency, the US dollar, they've been printing trillions and trillions of dollars. I believe last year, 2020, they printed $9 trillion. This year, they printed, I think, $3 or $4 trillion. I think that was even before the latest stimulus. So the Americans have been introducing so much goddamn supply that the US dollar is going to continue to lose its value likely over time, and the world needs a hedge, and Bitcoin is very likely to be that hedge. We're already seeing adoption with companies. So I say all this to say that if you look at the fundamentals have never been stronger. And if you look at the market cycle top and bottom indicators, they all suggest that this is not the top. This is enough evidence, in my opinion, to tell me that while we may correct further in the short term, I do not think this is the top of the bull run. I still think we have many, many more months of bull run ahead of us eventually, whenever it is we just so happen to decide to stop correcting.
Right. So, and that's the thing, something to also keep in mind that obviously, we read all the comments and we try to understand where people are standing and how they react to certain things. And one of the most, I guess, recent comments that were there is, this and this and that. And this fell off 45%, this fell off 60%. We said it's going to go up or go down. You have to understand that this is all forecasting. Bitcoin, with everything we just said, Bitcoin can go to zero tomorrow. So you need to always accept that. And you need to always try to see and do your own research. Don't just listen to what, a YouTuber is saying, regardless of how confident they sound in their analysis. Right now, this is what we think about it. And this is what we provide you, some of the news, hoping that you actually go and do your research about it and see, are you comfortable with the risk like that or no? Some people are even, some people are just buying right now. Others are just selling everything. Some people have their life savings in this, and others have, just cash on the side that they don't mind it fluctuating. You need to understand that you, as a investor or trader, need to know what your risk level is and understand what you're comfortable with. I'm comfortable seeing this drop. No problem for me. We're looking for years ahead. Other people cannot afford, and from a risk perspective, to actually see this happen. A lot of people bought at the top, and you're seeing massive drops in this. So you need to understand that. We're just looking out for you. We're not just trying to hype you up for certain things. We're just bringing the news for you. Things do pump and dump in the space, and you just need to be aware of it. So with that being said, always do your own research. This is not a financial advice. This is simply our analysis or our thoughts or perspective on the market. Always take it with a grain of salt. And that's when, you will have confidence in the market. Only when you have confidence in the market, move into it.
Right. Yeah. And look, folks, you need to do what's best for yourself. And part of doing what's best for yourself is having your own trading plan and your own investment plan. That way you don't have to rely on any other person. Folks, I have a high risk tolerance and I am a long-term investor. I don't care if things fall, I'm not going to sell. There's been stretches where vast swaths of my portfolio was down 20, 30, 50%. And not only did I not sell, I kept buying because I have a long-term mindset. I don't care if things fall. I have a high risk tolerance, but you may not. So you need to understand what's best for yourself. You need to know when to take profits and when to sell and all that good stuff. And part of that is having a trading plan. But also, I think part of having a trading plan is, following channels such as ourselves, because we mention important factors. No, for real though, we mentioned important factors that you guys need to be aware of. If we look, like for example, like these cycle charts, it's on a very good. It would make no sense that at the peak of Bitcoin's use case and demand, and at its low supply, and if you consider what's going on with the US dollar, that we would peak out right now when it just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So yeah.
So one more thing I would say as well that we need to also bring to their attention is the Grayscale stuff. I think that's a good, just at least keep, we're still doing more research about what Grayscale is, the movement that happened in the past couple of days. There's some significant movements in their, overall assets under their management. Overall, I'm not sure if you have that Twitter up, but on,
it's right here.
You do. Okay, so I'll just show that here. because there's some articles here that we'll also include for you in the description for you to read up on. But then again, even if we're on major news and all that, we always try to verify our own. We always try to get into what we don't want to just get hype you up or just look into news and get it at face value and take it at face value. But anyway, so this is Grayscale, April 20th. If you follow Grayscale on Twitter, you'll see almost like a daily snapshot of their assets that are under their management and the totals and the percent changes that happen as well. April 20th, when Bitcoin dropped here. So where's April 20th? I'll just go to the daily just to give you an idea. Right here. So April 20th, on this day right here, when Bitcoin dropped heavy, when Bitcoin had from here all the way down to April 20th, we would have somewhere, it was just going to take the average price. It's almost like at a 15% discount, right? This was Grayscale's holding at 44.9 billion. And the next day, this other tweet they have, April 21st, their total assets under their management jumped to 45.8 billion. So from 44.9 billion to 45.8 billion, 900 million increase in their total assets that they invested, or just the total value increase itself. That's what we're trying to actually understand. We just want to bring it to your attention. However, between the next day after the 21st, so the 22nd, that was yesterday, their total assets under management value dropped to 45.1 billion. So initially 44.9 billion, and one day they added an extra billion of investment, which was trying to verify. And then the day after, the value actually still dropped to 45.1 billion, meaning that the value of their overall assets actually dropped with the market after they added that 1 billion in their investment. So this is not, we're still trying to verify that. So, we'll still make another video soon up here, but this news just came out recently.
So you're saying, Grayscale full mode?
I'm assuming, I don't know. I don't know. So
Yeah.
that's something to keep in mind, guys. You always need to follow the movement of those bigger guys and see, because these guys also control a lot of the pricing that happens here. A lot of price manipulation happens in the market. So you need to keep in mind that right now, whatever we just mentioned with Grayscale, something we're still verifying. The news is still hot. There's not a lot in the market in terms of news for Grayscale, but we're delving deep into it. And make sure subscribe and all that stuff.
100%. And look, folks, you literally have to stay tuned on the channel. We're bringing you guys some of the most important factors when it comes to understanding the state of the market. So again, like, subscribe, comment, share, hit that bell to be notified of new uploads. And I have to get this off my chest, man. I know I can ramble on and on, but I would really regret if I didn't mention this, because another reason, and look, you might not like this chart, you might disagree with me, whatever, you let me know, but I think this chart is another very good reason to think that this is probably not the end of this cycle, because crypto has historically moved in these 4-year cycles based off Bitcoin and Bitcoin halving. So roughly every 4 years, the supply of Bitcoin being produced gets cut in half. And if we look at the 2 previous cycles we've had, from the bottom of the bear market to the halving, from the bottom of the bull cycle to the halving was typically 51% of the entire bull market. And from the halving to the top of the market was 49% of the entire bull market. So this has happened twice. So based off the last halving we've had, Bitcoin isn't likely to top off until September this year. So we changed the chart here. And unfortunately, we're unable to get the exact date. But this date right here lines up to the end of September, specifically September 28th. So if we look at how Bitcoin has historically moved in these cycles, and we have all these cycle indicators suggesting that we have plenty of room to the upside, I don't think this is the end, even though, again, we are seeing some concerning things. One thing here, for example, is we're seeing a large spike of Bitcoin inflowing to exchanges. And this has historically been quite bare. So we can see here, last time we had a large spike of inflow of Bitcoin moving to the exchanges was March, when the disease hit. I don't want to get demonetized. So we had 40...
This guy's rambling too much, man.
Should we cut it off?
No, I guess we're good. Unless...
well, why don't I just finish my point here? So
go ahead.
We had 41,000 Bitcoin flow into exchanges. We had a sell-off. We had here 20,000 Bitcoin flow into exchanges, and we're having a sell-off. So again, we are seeing some bearish signs, but these are some of the most significant factors you guys need to be aware of. And whenever we've had these large inflows into exchanges, it has also historically correlated with near the bottom. So that's something else to be aware of. So yeah, that's all for me, man. I don't know if you got
So
anything.
there you go, folks. Thank you for watching. It's probably the longest video ever made. If you like the video, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Let us know if there's anything we missed, if there's anything that you came across in terms of news and everything and this frenzy that's going on. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if you think it's a bear market or a bull market. And let us know if you're scared or not, or if you're hopeful. So make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below. If you like the channel, subscribe, like the video, join our Discord. Have a great day.